service of ire.
Welcome back. Dry your eyes because this is only halfway over. It's time for Bomber against Baby.
You know, after the last game, one thing actually hit me. All differences aside, this is one thing that Naniwa and his team have in common.
Yes.
Both of them out of the GSL. I hope that we see a comeback of both of them actually, but right now Sparta is the man of the hour, able to take down ST, advancing and going to face SOS, aka Shy from Woonjing Stars, in his next match.
Yep, and whoever wins that will actually face Seed, so tough bracket there.
Yeah, you can say that again. That's going to be so hard to get this Code S spot. But now we're heading into another game, and this time we have a mirror match. We have actually a Terran versus Terran match coming up, with Bomber up against Baby.
Baby, such a known player in Brood War for being so young. If you haven't done so already, type in maybe Baby Brood War, Baby We Made Fox, something like that. You'll find a bunch of pictures of this guy, super young. Look how young he looks now. Imagine him playing StarCraft 1 as a young kid, like younger than you've ever seen, and you will find some crazy stuff on the internet. Watch some VODs of this kid with his Wraith control in TVZ. This guy is so well known in StarCraft 1, one of the most famous players, and he was chosen actually after the disbanding of We Made Fox to join Kespa's 8th team. And his skill, you know, it never really faltered all too much. He's always been a heavy hitter in StarCraft 1, and in StarCraft 2 he's looking good already.
Yeah, exactly. He won one of the Code A qualifiers, as you can see here. He advanced from Code A, and he did so by defeating one of the strongest protos that we currently have for LGIM. He took down Yonghwa in the final of his bracket, the one player that was able to all-kin twice already this season.
Bomber is a force to be reckoned with. He was actually able to get into Code S, wasn't able to stick around, unfortunately for him, but one of these players is going to be out, and it may be another veteran here. We already lost Jokji, we've lost now Nesty. Will Bomber be the next veteran to fall? That's what we're about to find out.
And Baby was playing against MVP, for example, also a match in, well, a Terran versus Terran match, and at the WCG he took him out with a 2-0. On the other hand, MVP got revenge in the OSL, was able to win the map. Currently, we're waiting for the game to start on Ohana. It's going to be map number 1 between Bomber and his opponent. So Startail against Kespa's 8, and this is going to be a pretty interesting game. Bomber, of course, one of these players who, I don't know, he just can't establish himself in Code S for some reason. He always comes back to Code A. Will he be able to get a Code S spot once again?
Bomber has big bursts of success, and I think that he just came down from one. This guy is almost as inconsistent as Keen is, but when he shines brightly. But I think he may be able to stick in here if he can take out this Kespa player.
Talking about Keen, he was actually one of the players that were able to beat Baby at the WCG 2012 Korea qualifier. Right now the first game is coming up. The third best of 3 of the day here at the GSL. We have Bomber up against Baby. First map is going to start in a few seconds. Here we go. Terran mirror match in our third game. Starting to the bottom right is the Startail player, a very, very accomplished Terran player. Is he able to get back into Code S? His ID, of course, is
Startail Bomber.
in his Code S matches. He lost to DRG and he lost to Gumiho. The last Terran mirror match that he played did not end in his favor. He didn't win a single map in the best of 3 against the FXO Terran. Now he's up against a fellow Terran player once more. Starting to the top left, we have a Kespa player. This is
Ace Team, Baby.
Yeah. Picked up by Kespa's 8th team, along with other players like Jadong after MBC Game disbanded. Baby's history coming from We Made Fox. And he is going for gas first here.
Even though I was not really a Brood War hardcore fan who was watching all these games, I was more Warcraft 3 player and caster. But the games of Baby are some of those that I really still remember. Those were the StarCraft Brood War games where I tuned into the GOMTV stream and watched the matches.
Yeah, you know, Baby is just, he is such a legend. He really is. And he's an older legend, I would argue. I mean, he's always been consistently decent and up there. He had his slumps, but like, he was never a Jaedong or a Flash, but he is a baby. I mean, there's like actually a category of people that you could call the baby category. Not young people who were just recently born, but I'm talking about a relative skill level. That's what I would like to explain. So, normal gas timing for Bomber here, and he is going to be facing probably fast Banshees from Baby. But we have seen people with gas first doing all sorts of different strategies recently, including Hellion drops.
Yeah, the Casper play definitely starting with a little bit more of an aggressive build, and just talking about his recent StarCraft 2 history. It's not a long list of games, but a lot of these matches were actually Terran versus Terran games. He has a win ratio of 50%. He won 3 maps, he lost 3. Against MVP, he was quite successful at WCG Korea Qualifier. Lost in the OSL, as pointed out beforehand, versus Keen. He also lost the best of 3 series. Now he's up against Bomber, a Terran player who has a pretty decent record with 55% win ratio, but it is his worst matchup if you look at his TVZ and at his TVP too.
Yep. Bomber has this ability to take a game that he's winning and roll with it, but sometimes he gets overconfident. We've seen this in the past. This isn't something that you should note about his play that he consistently does, but there have been moments where he's been ahead in games and just gotten a bit careless or a bit too excited and lost them. And if he wins the first game, it's often that he will win the second. Now, Baby is going to put a starport at very close proximity to Bomber's base down near the bottom right.
And just judging from his performance in the Code A qualifier, you can't really say too much about Baby. The matches that I quoted earlier are of course a little bit of an indicator. But in his Code A qualifier, he mostly met Casper players, and a lot of them were B-teamers. In the final, he met LGIM Yonghwa, and he was able to take him out. So this is definitely a huge accomplishment, given that Yonghwa all killed already this GSTL season. So now we have this pressure coming up by Baby, trying to go in there on the high ground, leading with the SCV, getting the high ground vision. Has to be careful with his Hellion though, but doing a nice amount of damage, but it's just enough, killing a lot of Bomber's Marines.
And the exciting part about this, of course, is that you can now follow the Banshees that are going to be more successful with less Marines to deal with them.
That's the big thing that he accomplished. He took down the Marines of his opponent, and now he's moving in once again with the Hellion.
He wants to get the damage in a line, but he's not quite able to do so.
As long as he can take down those Marines, he will accomplish his mission.
That is mission accomplished so far. That's Objective A. Objective B is to fly the Banshee, and so far the Banshee has already been started. Bomber, he could be in a lot of trouble here. He's got Hellions out. One thing to notice, Baby, he's got reactive Hellions coming out, but he doesn't have a wall, so this could be a problem depending on how the next few phases of this game go. Is Bomber going to be...
He needs a Viking immediately.
Yeah. Is Bomber going to have that Viking out in time? It's just going to be a little bit too late, so that first moment is going to be the scary one.
He's not... There it is. Starts the Viking, and he might just be able to fend this Banshee off without taking too much damage.
Yeah, there's no cloak, so it's not going to be about having to use scans and making sure he fights it well. He's just going to have to literally fly near the Banshee and kill it.
He should be kind of fine here. Right now he has a bit of a lead in the Harvest account, so if only 2 or 3 SCVs die with the additional heal that he controls, he will still be fine, but he really needs the Viking. 2 SCVs have been killed. Now the Marines walk in, another SCV goes down, and another one. The Viking is finally there.
Yep. He takes out a Marine or 2. And in total, the Banshee now up to 9 kills. We'll probably get 10 before dying.
It's too much. 9 SCVs have been annihilated. The second Banshee is not ready just yet. He doesn't cancel it, so Baby with his proxy starport still doing some damage. Look at all those Hellions, Wolf.
Yeah, he's reacted them out. The Viking has to be landed here. With the amount of AoE damage that you can do, the Hellion count doesn't always matter as much as the way that the arc of the attack goes, and the Viking just adding a little bit of buffer here. Baby trying to decide if he wants to commit. It's a tough choice.
The second Banshee enters the mineral line, and we have an additional Viking now out for Bomber, who immediately starts to focus the Banshee, but so many SCVs have already been killed. Bomber is down to 18 Harvester. He still has this extra mule, and this is the only thing that actually keeps him in the game at this point. Look at how many SCVs actually die here.
And it may not be the last of them as the Hellions come in once more. The Viking doing a bunch of extra DPS, but Baby has eliminated all but the last few of Bomber's Hellions. It looks like he will hold here.
It does not really look like Bomber is able to really make this work. 17 against 26 Harvesters. The expansion for Baby is nearly done. Now finally the Viking able to camp the starport of his opponent, attacking the Banshee immediately. But the expansion is nearly done for Baby, and he finds himself in a really good spot against Bomber here.
The supply has evened out.
yeah, I think that actually Bomber will be able to close the gap in Harvesters.
As soon as that orbital is done, he starts producing SCVs out of it. He'll close it really quickly. He's making Marauders right now off of his barracks. I think he's just going to follow up with the Hellion Marauder attack to try to finish it. He knows his opponent's not going to have any Banshees out. He's not going to have to worry about that. And he's actually making another Viking right now, which is not going to be all too useful against this type of strategy from Baby.
Bomber is closing the gap, even though he lost so many Harvesters. He lost 18 in total. He's now suddenly looking at nearly the same amount of SCVs that Baby has, and he had those SCVs for a long time.
This
now
is a cool attack by Bomber, yeah. He's got to keep his Viking away from the Marauder, though. This is such a strange attack, but all the Hellions are so low on hit points. He lifts, and he's going to be able to get maybe one more Hellion of Baby.
Just able to take it out. Oh, he needs to be so careful. Oh, wow. Able to pull it off. And suddenly Bomber is still behind in overall supply. But he's killing the Banshee. I can't believe that Baby didn't cancel this.
Yeah, I think it was a bit odd. He's still not done, man. He started Cloak right now after that Banshee died. He really wants to make something work with this. Well, the Vikings are going to camp, and all he has to do is scan immediately when the Banshee comes out, and he's going to be able to kill it every time.
Baby is still ahead in the Harvest account, and now he has those extra mules. Bomber is building another command center. This is a pretty crazy game. The Cloak ability has been cancelled once again, but Baby is still building this Banshee.
Yeah. The Vikings so low on hit points right now for Bomber. In fact, both of them on 21 and 25. He's repairing it.
Yeah, he's repairing them as we speak. But this Hellion and Marauder attack that's headed Bomber's way, this is definitely pretty tough to hold, especially if he doesn't have a bunker.
Yeah,
the bunker is being built, will be done in time.
I think he's going to be able to hold here if he can get the... Well, he only has one Marine here, actually. The bunker is going to buffer, though. It's a pretty big object that's going to make it difficult for Baby to actually get his units inside. And...
yeah, nice move here with the starport.
Yeah, I mean, he's not really able to accomplish anything with this. He really wants to. Raven is coming out now for Bomber to be 110% safe.
Both of them are exactly at the same amount of supply, and really nice move here at the start, but he really wants to take it out now. Has the Vikings now in assault mode.
The Marauders are coming. Okay, it lifts one. I really like this. Now he can just lift the other two when the Marauders arrive. Not a single shot connected.
And Baby is actually lifting the starport. So if he plays this well, the starport will definitely die. It will start burning at some point, and he doesn't have an SCV around to repair it. Third base now also coming up for Baby.
You know, the thing is, even if he doesn't kill it, he can't use it with Vikings sitting next to it. So it's pretty much dead weight either way. Double factory for Bomber and an armory. He's going to be going into mech here. As he has, obviously, as we mentioned earlier, he doesn't have any Marines. He's just got the one, two technically now in the bunker. And the Harvester count is dead even. As you're going to say, it's 50 to 48 in Baby's here. Not a significant difference. He starts his third at the third base location.
Bomber takes down two Hellions. A little bit of, it's basically Christmas presents by Baby, not paying attention to the minimap. Didn't see those, and then he loses two of his own. But still, all those Marauders are making it a little bit hard for Bomber to engage with those Hellions. He has to be very careful. If he moves in, then he will lose them, especially now that Concussive Shell has been started.
And just looking at the production tab here, you can see that obviously the pre-Igniter upgrade is coming out, but so is Stim and a ton of Marauders. He's really beating up the Marauder count right now, which is going to allow him to fight these Hellions properly.
Yeah, but we have completely different strategies now from the two players. Baby is heading into this bio composition, and on the other hand, we have Bomber heading more and more towards the mech composition that he's trying to pull off.
Yeah, the Raven, of course, is not really going to be for spotting cloaking units, as he knows he already took care of that. But more so, it's going to be for the Marauders. A weird starport removal here.
Well, he just tries to block the base.
Okay, yeah, you're right. That makes sense. I was going to say, why would he move that doesn't accomplish anything?
I don't really think that it will come into play or be important, but that's the only thing that he can really accomplish with the starport at this point in time. Bomber is also getting in the sensor turret, which is really important here. Realize that his opponent's heading towards a composition with bio. So drop play will definitely be an issue.
Yeah, not only drop play, but just he wants to be able to see any move outs that he can find. And of course, with this, he spots not only the starport being moved, but also the Marauder. At this point, the supply is going up faster and faster for Bomber. He's just able to pull ahead with the production he set up. The engagements that we will see will be dominated based off of siege tank positioning, most likely. Can he catch tanks in siege? And Baby is not cutting siege tanks out of the picture. He's adding his own in as well. So things can get really nasty if Bomber loses his edge for a second. He's got to be very careful with his unit control. He has to be patient.
Is getting a ton of Marauders. Like a lot of them. And this will be great against the mech army, but as soon as Bomber starts to build a bunch of Banshees, for example, in order to strengthen his position here, that's something that those Marauders will definitely struggle with. We already have 22 Marauders and another 3 are being built.
Yeah. There's only one Banshee on the map for Bomber. He's actually making a second Viking now. And this Starport is finally done.
It's a pretty cool game that we see so far. Very exciting between the two of them. A lot of action, small comebacks and run-bys happening. And now here comes Bomber trying to finally find an opening in his opponent's play.
Oh, he walks right into a tank.
Yeah, but takes the tank out. No problem. He has to be careful of those Marauders though.
Yeah, and the Hellions actually adding some extra DPS in here. Bomber taking a tough engagement. The point defense drone is so key here.
Yeah, it is indeed, and at the same time now he's able to take down this missile turret.
The turret wasting a lot of the energy though.
Baby is a bit out of position to the top, but
yeah.
He has a few units at the bottom right, a small run-by that he tries to make work.
Yeah, he just decides he can't do it with the center tower there. There's too many Hellions, he doesn't feel comfortable. This is a game that is all about positioning now, and so far Bomber has the better one. He can't quite grab onto that watchtower, but the point defense is still active here, making it so hard for Baby to actually engage.
Yeah, Baby with his 23 Marauders is really trying to find a spot where he can attack, but Bomber doesn't make it easy for him. And Bomber is ahead a little bit of his opponent also in the harvest account. So he has the better economy, but he needs to be careful with all those Hellions. Here comes the rest of the army though, all those siege tanks, and he's pushing Baby back. Nice stutter step by the Casper player, but he's losing every single Marauder in the end.
Yeah, and he didn't kill all the Hellions, and with 5 Hellions he made at a time for Bomber, he just doesn't care. He's even making now 6 at a time. Those are easily replaceable, much more replaceable than the Marauders he just killed.
Double command center coming up for both of them. Bomber starting to transition a little bit more into airplay with an additional starport. On the map he has 2 Ravens already, he's building the 3rd.
Triple orbitals going up. What Baby is doing right now is actually playing how Pult often plays against Mech, where he just makes a ton of Marauders and gets extra orbitals, tries to overwhelm his opponent by trading here and there.
Baby actually a heavily supply block. He's just started 2 supply depots and also a Ghost Academy that he wants to use here.
Yeah, he's going to be able to use the Ghost Academy with nukes positionally. A huge run by here, you're absolutely right. And the Hellions actually just barely miss it. He's going to potentially have to cancel his command center.
Nah, not really. With all those with all those Hellions, he will be able to take down the Marauders. They are so low in hit points that it won't be a problem. And Baby is moving into the siege tank range into the middle of the map and lost another bunch of Marauders here. He's really dropping in supply and he's dropping fast. He's down to 160 against 200.
He can't afford it. He doesn't have the bank. I feel like he's fighting a losing battle constantly, and so Bomber is just dominating here. One thing to mention, by the way, Colors, he has an army, but he hasn't started 2-2 for the longest time. He's still at 1-1 on his upgrades for those bio units.
Bomber was struggling a little bit in the early game, but then he stabilized and is now just playing a very, very solid match against his opponent. And is getting farther and farther ahead. +3 attack has been started. The second armor upgrade is also on his way. Whereas Baby now decides to finally drop with a huge amount of units here, with 3 medivacs in total,
yeah,
just as Bomber moves out with the rest of his army.
This is great for Baby because Bomber is going to have to turn around here. USD is going down, but he's going to trade well against the Hellions and will likely be able to get out. The Vikings are there for Bomber. He's just got to be able to use them and corner these medivacs. Yeah, so he does.
The medivacs die, and here come the rest of the Hellions. Still 180 supply against 170. Bomber has the better bank. He's getting more and more command centers now. He wants to slowly start to get into a position where he can trade SCVs for mules.
Yeah, and even though Baby has closed the gap in supply, his composition is arguably worse. It's all about if he can. He has to hope that Bomber is in the wrong place at the wrong time to take a fight. I mean, he really does. He's trying to be positional here. There's a planetary, and there's just too many Hellions. He's caught between about 20 to 30 blue flame Hellions and a planetary. He's got to get out there. He's going to lose his tank here as well.
One siege up tank just is not enough to stop Bomber, and those tanks at the top, he might actually just engage here. There's so much, and Bomber does not have to go into siege mode. He does so much damage with the tanks as they are. He takes down everything. The Thor is already dead, and the siege tanks are dying.
He just fought half of Baby's army, and it was the wrong composition to fight against Bomber here. He's got to be a little bit more careful with that planetary. Baby is going to go for a trade here. He says, you can have my planetary, but I will take your third.
It has been spotted though with the Zanaga Watchtower vision. Bomber knows exactly what's going on, and he is heading to the bottom left in order to engage his opponent.
Yeah.
And the siege tanks, they are sieged up. Now there's the Banshee that we talked about earlier, and there's no anti-air.
Yep, and he can just slip here, and now it was a pretty unfair trade, I guess you could argue, for Bomber. He's getting the better end of the deal here. A lot of units lost, and Baby's still close in supply, but how does he deal with the Banshees? He can't. The Marine's stimming here, but he's taken out by siege tanks.
And now the rest of the siege tank is going to die. He was able to force the command center off the ground, the orbital, but that's the only thing that he really achieved. Now suddenly the sieged up tanks are gone, and Bomber can move in and kill everything else that's stuck at the bottom left for his opponent.
Yep. Orbital heads back to land. The last of Baby's tanks will be clean here. The Marauder's solo on hit points. He's just going to walk through 1A.
Yeah, everything's dying. 130 supply now against 170, but Baby with a better income at this point in time, just because of his additional base that he has. Bomber, of course, is going to land his orbital command to the bottom left once more.
And this is where the bank shines in, you know? He lost a lot of mining temporarily there, but he still would have maintained full production with the bank. Now he's going to build that bank again once he lands those orbitals you're talking about, even taking the extra expansion over there to the 8 o'clock position.
Plus 3 armor also being started for Bomber now. In upgrades, he's just way ahead of his opponent. But a single armor upgrade for Baby, and Bomber is just in a great position, upgrade-wise, composition-wise, and just in every single aspect of the game, he is far ahead of his opponent.
He needs Thor hits here. He just doesn't have any way to deal with that Air Force. It's a great ground army supplemented by a few Banshees. That siege tank is so annoying. Baby's not, or rather, Bomber's have to deal with that. Point defense drone is in position. The Marauders cannot fight here. There's 3 point defense drones. It takes so many Marauder shots to take care of those.
The base to the left side is not even upgraded to an orbital planetary.
And if he lifts it, all the SCVs are going to line up and die to Hellions.
God, he cannot even take down the siege tank because of the point defense drones, because there's just too much. Baby is losing ground, he's losing it fast, he's now below 100 supply.
And there he goes. He's done with those SCVs over there. Meanwhile, Bomber is just moving back across the map to intercept any possible forces. Once he cleans those up, he will just march across the map. GG! Bomber takes game 1. A pretty nice hold and recovery from the early proxy Banshees.
Not impressed.
Yeah, he does not.
All.
Does not look impressed at all there.
He looks a little bit bored, actually. Well, the second game will show if Bomber is able to advance to the second round. And here's Baby.
Yeah. And Baby just very calm and collected here. A very aggressive strategy. I feel like he started to lose out when he kept running in with small forces that Bomber just eliminated one by one. You know, you fight a big army with a small army enough times, you lose your advantage that you have.
But this opening in the game was actually so crazy. When we had the Banshee taking down Harvester after Harvester, with Bomber building the Viking a little bit later, he could have just lost the game right then and there, but he was able to recover even though he was so far, Baby was so far ahead in Harvesters, but he just didn't have the second orbital, and this gave Bomber the chance to double produce SCV until finally the orbital for Baby was done. He also had the mule advantage that made up for the difference in worker supply. So a really great opening here, and I'm certainly looking forward to the next map. Bomber not joining the lobby just yet. That will happen in just a few seconds, and then we will see another game. Talking to his coach here.
Yep. StarTale really does it right with coaches. They have several coaches with different needs. You've got, of course, the manager, who also serves as a coach and a supporter. Just all sorts of support there. And they even have the old Xenix coach has joined the team as well to help give support, especially to the former Xenix players because they know him well. All right, map number 2.
Abyssal City.
Yes. Both players in the booth. Baby looking a little stressed, trying to relax there.
Bomber takes another win. He will advance, and Baby will have to requalify next season. The map is loading.
And if we go to a third game, it will be on Whirlwind, so that's something to consider as well. Bomber definitely looking strong in the late game last game. Baby wanted to be the aggressor. Either way, 2 big maps up, 2 in a row. Can Baby bring this back, or will Bomber advance 2-0 here at the GSL Code A round of 48 with Calder and Wolf?